I used to think the Rust Belt was just a graveyard for American industry. I spent 3 years as a drone operator for a commercial real estate firm in Pennsylvania, mapping out abandoned factories and shuttered steel mills for corporate redevelopment. You get used to the desolation, the cracked asphalt, the rusted iron skeletons, the silence of towns that died 30 years ago. But 2 weeks ago, I was sent to survey a massive, decommissioned logistics facility hidden deep in the woods outside of Scranton. The site had been locked down since 1994, completely wiped from the local registries. I was told it was just an old warehouse. That was a lie. It was an overcast Tuesday morning when I parked my truck outside the perimeter fence. The facility was immense, a brutalist concrete monolith with no windows, swallowing the gray daylight. I set up my folding table, calibrated my high-end thermal drone, and launched it into the air. My job was simple: fly the drone through the upper ventilation shafts, map the interior structure, and check for any structural collapses before the demolition crews arrived. The drone glided smoothly through a broken exhaust vent on the roof. As the camera feed stabilized on my monitor, I was surprised by how pristine the interior looked. Unlike most abandoned sites, there was no graffiti, no trash, and no signs of wildlife. The vast concrete floor was completely empty, stretching out under rows of dead fluorescent lights. I maneuvered the drone deeper into the facility, lowering it toward the basement levels. That's when the thermal camera started acting up. On my monitor, a bright, pulsing heat signature appeared in the center of the lowest basement floor. In a building that had been cut off from the power grid for 3 decades, the ambient temperature should have been a uniform, freezing blue. But this heat signature was a blinding, molten red. It was a massive, perfectly circular shape, roughly 30 feet wide. Curious, I toggled the drone to its standard optical lens. When the high-definition camera feed cut in, I gasped. There was no machinery or generator on the floor. Instead, there was a jagged, bottomless pit bored directly into the concrete foundation. The edges of the hole weren't cut by drills. The concrete looked melted, warped downward, as if something incredibly hot and heavy had dissolved its way through from below. Suddenly, my drone's audio feed crackled. The microphone began picking up a low, rhythmic vibration. It sounded like a massive, organic pulse. Thump, 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 thump. It was the sound of a heartbeat, but it was so deep it made the folding table beneath my hands vibrate. Before I could pull the drone back, the radio frequency meter on my controller went haywire. The signal bars dropped to 0, and the screen flashed with a warning: external signal interference. The drone completely lost connection, its video feed dissolving into a chaotic mess of digital snow. But the monitor didn't stay blank for long. The static slowly organized itself, forming a new, crystal-clear video feed. The camera was no longer looking at the pit, it was looking at me. The video on my monitor was a live, high-angle shot from the tree line directly behind my truck. I could see the back of my own head, my folding table, and the remote controller in my hands. Panic seized my chest. I spun around, scanning the dense woods behind me. The trees were still, the branches bare. There was nobody there. No cameras, no tripods, nothing. I looked back at the monitor. In the live video, a figure stepped out from behind a massive oak tree just 20 feet from where I was standing. The entity was tall, wearing a pristine, vintage 1990 security uniform, complete with a badge and a neatly pressed cap. But where its face should have been, there was nothing but a smooth, seamless plate of rusted iron. My phone, resting on the table next to my monitor, suddenly chimed with a text message. It came from an unlisted 5-digit corporate number. The text read, "Survey incomplete. Deep signal protocol breached. Please remain at your workstation for immediate termination." I didn't care about the expensive drone. I grabbed my car keys, slammed the laptop shut, and lunged toward my truck. But the moment my hand touched the cold metal of the truck's door handle, the vehicle's horn began blaring on its own. A continuous, deafening shriek that echoed off the concrete walls of the facility. The electronic locks clicked, sealing the doors from the inside. I looked back toward the woods. The figure in the security uniform was closer now. It hadn't walked. It had simply appeared 10 feet closer. Its body shifting like a glitching frame in an old VHS tape. From the edges of its iron face, a thick black oil began to leak, staining the collar of its crisp uniform. I turned and ran. I didn't look back until I reached the main highway 2 miles away, my lungs burning, my boots caked in mud. I caught a Greyhound bus back to Philadelphia that same night. I quit my job via email, blocking every corporate number associated with my firm. I thought I was safe, but yesterday morning, a heavy FedEx package arrived at my new apartment. There was no return address. Inside was a single old-fashioned VHS tape and a printed note on yellowed corporate letterhead. Your data has been processed. Thank you for your service. I don't even own a VCR. But last night at exactly 2:45 a.m., the smart TV in my living room turned on by itself. The screen flickered to a grainy black and white feed. It's a video of that dark, bottomless pit inside the Scranton facility. The camera is slowly descending into the blackness, and from the depths of the hole, a chorus of distorted, synthesized voices is faintly whispering my social security number. Over and over again, they are digging a space for me, and every time I blink, I can smell the distinct, suffocating scent of melted concrete and rusted iron right outside my bedroom door.